Okay, let's jump right in. We've got this really fascinating stack of sources you sent over, articles, some research papers, your notes too, and they all focus on one specific kind of baffling object out there in space.
Right.
So our mission for this deep dive is really to pull apart this material and figure out what makes this thing tick. Or maybe pulse is the better word here.
Yeah, pulse is definitely right. And the object everyone's talking about is called ASKAP J18320911.
ASKAP J18320911.
Okay. And even just reading the first descriptions in these sources, they immediately flag it. Astronomers are literally calling it unlike anything we have seen before.
Unlike anything. Oh. Wow. And the absolute core of the mystery, reading through this, it seems to be the timing, right? It's emitting these bursts, pulses, of radio waves and X-rays. And with this incredible, almost like clockwork precision, it repeats every 44 minutes.
Exactly. It's this unique mix of features, the really long, precise period, the specific kinds of energy coming off it, and also how it seems to be changing over time. That's what's got scientists scratching their heads.
Yeah, it's why we need to dig into these sources you provided, see what they actually say.
For sure.
So we're going to try and distill the most important bits from this material, figure out why this object's just so weird, and, what it might actually mean for how we understand the universe.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Where did it start? The sources say the first sign of this object came from the Australian Square Kilometre Array Pathfinder.
That's it. ASKAP. It's a big radio telescope array located out in Wajari country in Western Australia.
Right. And they spotted it when? Late 2023.
Yeah, the signal popped up in late 2023. The official announcement date we see in the papers is May 28th, 2025.
Okay. And where is it? Is it far?
Not cosmically speaking, no. It's relatively close, inside our own Milky Way galaxy, about 15,000 light years away.
15,000 light years. Okay. But just finding the radio signal, that wasn't the whole picture, was it? The sources really emphasize this follow-up observation.
Oh, absolutely crucial. They used NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory.
Chandra, okay.
And this is where it gets really interesting, like you said. Chandra confirmed that, yes, there were also these strong X-ray emissions coming from the same spot.
And not just at the same spot, but at the same time as the radio pulses.
Exactly. Perfectly synchronized.
Yeah.
The X-ray pulses lined up perfectly with the radio ones.
Wow.
And the sources, they really stress this point.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've ever seen something called a long period transient, or LPT.
LPT, right. That's a relatively new category itself, isn't it? From like 2022.
Yeah, exactly. New class. Okay. And this is the first LPT seen emitting both radio and X-rays simultaneously with such a long, regular period.
That combination is new.
Totally new for this kind of object. And apparently, getting that coordinated observation, it was incredibly tough. One source actually says it was like finding a needle in a haystack. It really only happened because Chandra and ASKAP just sort of by chance happened to be looking at the same patch of sky around the same time.
Right place, right time. Okay, let's drill down on that timing because the sources spend a lot of time on the precision. It's not just, about 44 minutes.
No. They nailed down. It's 2,656.247 seconds.
2,656.247. That's incredibly exact.
It really is. And within that, roughly 44-minute cycle, the sources say the object is only actively blasting out energy for a really short window, like about 2 minutes.
So wait, only 2 minutes active out of every 44?
That's what the data suggests.
And in those 2 minutes, it's hitting us with intense bursts of both radio waves and X-rays simultaneously.
And again, this combination, especially repeating over such a long cycle, the sources keep hammering this home. We have simply never seen that before, not in any known cosmic object.
Okay. And what about the radio emissions themselves? Are they always the same?
No, that's another weird part. The sources detail how variable they are.
Yeah.
Their strength or, brightness in radio terms, it changes dramatically from one pulse to the next.
How dramatic?
Well, they range from maybe 30 millijansky, which is pretty faint, up to an extraordinary 20 Jansky sometimes.
Whoa, 20 Jansky. That's seriously bright for something like this, isn't it?
Incredibly bright. That's a huge swing in intensity for the same object, pulse to pulse.
Okay, huge range in brightness. Anything else about the radio waves?
Yeah, one more key thing. They're highly polarized, over 90% polarized.
Polarized. Okay, remind us what that means. Like light waves vibrating in one direction.
Exactly. Same idea for radio waves.
Yeah.
And when you see that high degree of polarization, it's a really strong clue. It strongly suggests that there are powerful, ordered magnetic fields involved in actually generating these emissions.
Powerful magnetic fields. Okay, so let's recap. we've got this precise, very long 44-minute cycle.
Check.
We've got simultaneous bursts of radio and X-rays, which is a first for these LPTs. The radio bursts vary wildly in brightness, and they're highly polarized, pointing to strong magnetic fields.
You got it.
Okay. If that wasn't weird enough, the sources throw in another curveball. This thing is apparently fading, like overall.
Yeah, another layer to the puzzle. It shows extreme variability over longer timescales too, not just pulse to pulse.
So after they found it in late 2023,
it actually got brighter for a bit, reached its peak brightness around February 2024. But since then, well, the sources say it's been dimming significantly.
How significantly? They give numbers, right?
They do. By August 2024, so just, 6 months later, its radio intensity had dropped by 3 orders of magnitude.
3 orders. That's a factor of 1,000.
1,000 times fainter in radio waves in just half a year.
Yeah.
And its X-ray brightness, the luminosity, that also dropped by nearly 1 order of magnitude.
So about 10 times fainter in X-rays.
Roughly, yeah.
That kind of rapid, dramatic fading, combined with everything else, the pulsing pattern, that's why the sources say it just doesn't fit. It puts it outside all the known categories of compact objects.
Exactly right. When astronomers try to pigeonhole this thing, try to fit it into our existing boxes, the models just, they break down.
So things like white dwarfs or neutron stars, because the 44-minute period and the magnetic field hints might point that way initially.
You might think that, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a weird white dwarf or some kind of neutron star, perhaps even a magnetar. Those are the ones known for super strong magnetic fields.
But the sources are pretty clear. Neither of those neat explanations really covers all the observations.
Not even close, especially when you look at the energy budget.
The energy budget, how so?
Well, for things like pulsars, right, the energy they radiate usually comes from them slowing down their rotation. It's called spin-down energy.
Okay.
But the sources calculate that for this object, the radioluminosity, just the energy coming out as radio waves, it exceeds the expected spin-down energy by, get this, a factor of 10,000.
10,000 times more radio energy than expected just from it slowing down.
Yeah. It makes no sense based on standard pulsar models. The energy we're seeing just doesn't add up. It completely contradicts how we think these things work.
So it really is based on everything in these sources. Its whole emission profile, the timing, the energy, the fading, it genuinely has properties unlike any known galactic object.
That's the consensus in the papers, yeah. It's not just pushing the boundaries of a known category. It seems to be playing by a completely different rule book.
Which leads us to the bigger picture significance here. The research team, led by Dr. Ziteng Wang at Curtin University.
Right. They published in Nature, a major journal.
What are they suggesting this might be?
They're basically saying, look, this object could represent a whole new subcategory of these long-period transients. Remember, LPTs themselves are pretty new.
So we found a weird one, and now this might be the first example of an even weirder type within that weird category.
Kinda, yeah. Or maybe just the first glimpse of an entirely new class of cosmic object we just didn't know could exist until now.
Wow.
So this object, ASKAP J1832 it's really throwing down a gauntlet.
Right.
It's directly challenging our basic astrophysical models.
Right.
It's forcing scientists to come up with entirely new theories for how something like this could even form and how it could generate these bizarre, powerful, super precise signals.
And this is really why this discovery, laid out in the sources you shared, matters to you listening. It's a fantastic reminder that even nearby, within our own galaxy, the universe is still packed with profound mysteries.
Absolutely.
Discoveries like this, they push the absolute edges of what we know. They could potentially point towards, new fundamental physics or types of stars or objects we hadn't even conceived of.
Yeah, it tells us our understanding of the cosmos is definitely far from complete. There's still so much out there.
For sure. Okay, so let's just quickly recap. We've taken this deep dive into your sources about ASKAP J1832
This object that pulses like a clock every 44 minutes.
Right, with that remarkable precision.
Yep.
And it's simultaneously blasting out both radio waves and X-rays during its short on phase.
And we've seen how it's completely baffling scientists because it just doesn't fit any of our neat categories.
Plus, its signal is rapidly fading, which just adds another layer of enigma to the whole thing.
It really stands out. A truly mysterious cosmic object. And yeah, potentially the first member of a whole new class of astronomical phenomena.
So hopefully, walking through these sources with us has given you a clearer picture of why this discovery is so significant and, frankly, so exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty wild stuff.
And it leaves us and you with this final thought to sort of chew on. If we've only just now stumbled across this incredibly precise, regular cosmic clock, one that totally defies our current understanding, well, how many other kinds of regular, maybe hidden cosmic rhythms or clocks might still be out there?
Waiting silently in the dark.
Exactly, waiting to be detected. And what could those undiscovered patterns, those other clocks, tell us about the really fundamental workings of the universe, about reality itself?